Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a good day. Today we are going to be talking a little bit about Yahara House and also what donations are used for at Yahara House. I'm here with Brad Chu, who is our clubhouse director. How are you doing today, Brad?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Megan. How are you?
I'm doing well myself. So to start off, can you tell us a little bit about Yahara House?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So Yahara House is an accredited clubhouse program, and we are about work and community, and I'll explain that a little bit. So we have a work ordered day component to our program, and we also have a vocational helping people find jobs as part of what we do in clubhouse work and at Yahara House too. So we're a community-based mental health service that empowers people with mental illness to take control of their recovery and thrive through access to opportunities for employment, socialization, education, skill development, housing, and improved wellness.
All right. Where is Yahara House located?
Great question. We're on Gorham Street, 802 East Gorham Street, and we're have a beautiful view of Lake Mendota here. Our house is on the state and national registers for historic buildings. So any work that we do to the exterior of the building, we have to run through proper channels for that.
All right. So Brad, who is the clubhouse for?
Mm-hmm. Great question. So I'm going to answer that question using the Clubhouse International Standards to preface my answer. So as an accredited clubhouse, we are visited by a nonprofit, Clubhouse International, every 3 years, and they come on site and they take a look at our operations here. And there are 37 standards that are approved every 2 years by all clubhouses that are accredited clubhouses across the world, which there are close to 350 now, have an opportunity to review these standards and suggest changes. And these standards really stand the test of time because they don't change significantly. There have been tweaks here and there. But to your question, a clubhouse has control over acceptance of new members. Membership is open to anyone with a history of mental illness, unless that person poses a significant and current threat to the general safety of the clubhouse community. So we are really striving to be more open to anyone in Dane County with a mental illness. Right now, we have two wonderful funding streams. We have a Medicaid program, Comprehensive Community Services, that we contract with Dane County Human Services for, and most of our members are enrolled in the CCS program. We also have a contract with the Veterans Hospital here in Madison, and they pay for slots for 5 people here. So, what do we do when somebody isn't eligible for the veterans contract and may not be eligible for the Medicaid contract? We first work with them to see if there is a way that we can move them onto either of those contracts, and oftentimes there is, but there could be a lag in several months before someone is enrolled into CCS. So part of what we use our funding here for is a bridge so that members can start right away when they're interested in being here, and we can then use some of that money to cover our costs until they're on insurance that pays for their time here at Yahara House.
Speaking of time here at Yahara House, is Yahara House a residential program?
It is not, and I'm so glad you asked that question. It's pretty confusing. So many people assume because of our name, Yahara House, that we are a residential program, and our building is located in a residential neighborhood. So it's easy to see why someone would make that assumption. But Clubhouse programs work on a regular business schedule. So we're open 8:30 to 4:30, 5 days a week here. And also every holiday we're open, and we have several after hours. We have a music jam group, we have a creative expressions group, we have a game night here. So part of Clubhouse standards really stress that the Clubhouse is open beyond just 40 hours a week. Many members consider Clubhouse to be their family. They maybe their parents are no longer with us. A lot of their socializing comes through the Clubhouse, so it's really important that we're open on holidays and that we provide some recreation, access to recreation too.
What about inpatient and outpatient services? Does Yahara provide any of those?
We do not. Again, great question for clarification. So, Clubhouse programs are not typical clinical programs. I think Clubhouse's the services are evidence-based. There's more and more research showing that participating in a Clubhouse helps reduce isolation, helps people get back to work. The national average for people with serious mental illness holding competitive jobs is 15 to 18%, and Yahara House is consistently over 40% of members working in competitive positions. So back to your original question, no, we don't provide inpatient service and intensive outpatient, and we don't provide psychotherapy here either. The recovery happens through side-by-side work, building relationships, giving members opportunities to use skills that they have and follow interests that they have too. When members come for a tour the first time, we're really interested in knowing what they like to do, what they think they're good at doing. We offer them an opportunity to really check out the different work order day services that we have here. We've got a business department, we've got a member and communication department, and we've got a cafe, which I know you are working in right now. And that's another one of the standards is that members choose their participation in Clubhouse is voluntary. So they choose the work that they do, they choose how much they want to be here. And members are welcome to be here up to 40 hours a week, which I think speaks to the cost effectiveness of this program. Members can be here when they need the support, whereas through psychotherapy or psychiatry or some other types of traditional treatments, you'll have to wait in between appointments, and we just if someone's having a difficult day, we really encourage them to come into the Clubhouse and get support from other members and from staff here.
So you've talked a little bit before about Yahara House being an accredited clubhouse and adhering to a set of standards. What does it mean to be an accredited clubhouse and to adhere to a set of standards?
Yes, thank you for that question. It's really important in our success that we have been accredited going back over 20 years here. And we mentioned the 37 standards. So the process for accreditation is that leading up to a new accreditation period, we go through as a clubhouse. We do this all together, side by side, and we review all of the standards and how well we're meeting those. Then when the accreditors come on site for the visit, they have already read through our report and they observe us in action, basically. So they'll sit in department work, they'll go out and visit one of our transitional employment sites, and then they come back. This is a 2-day process. They come back at the end of the third day in the mid-morning, and they report out to everyone in the clubhouse kind of what they found. The thing that I really like about Clubhouse International is that it feels like we're in this together, that they're offering this feedback to us in order for us to improve. I've been a part of some other program certification visits where it's felt more like they're looking to find the things that we're not doing well. And battery.
Oh no. Oh no, it's still going.
Okay.
It's okay. Just
Okay.
keep going. We can erase it.
So, for instance, there are 2 standards that we're not meeting to the extent that we would like to meet, and one of those that we talked about earlier is that membership is open to anyone in the community with a mental illness. So we've been fundraising, and we used some donation money to allow people that aren't under our current funding streams to participate at Yahara House. We're also working with NAMI Wisconsin and the Medical College of Wisconsin Rehabilitation Psychology program at UW-Madison. And we've been meeting with legislators in the state capitol to educate them about Clubhouse and especially about ways that other states have found ways to get that funding so that the Clubhouse is open to anyone in the community. And I think it's really important to be open to all people with mental illness who want to have membership in a clubhouse, because everyone brings different skill sets in. Now, some members here are on disability. They're still able to work part-time and partake in our transitional employment and supported employment. But clubhouses also benefit from community members who had a later onset of mental illness, and maybe these folks are not able to work in the jobs or the careers that they had for a while, but as they begin their recovery journey, they can come into the clubhouse and start to use and share some of those skills that they had in their previous job. So that way you get accountants, and you get web designers, and you get chefs or people who've worked in the food service industry, and they come in and lend their talents to the clubhouse and regain confidence and have opportunities to socialize and not isolate. I think we see all kinds of information in the news these days about how detrimental social isolation is, and you're fairly new here, but I think you probably recognize how social and affirming our community is here.
Yeah, I have definitely noticed in talking to some members, I actually have realized that the main reason they come to Yahara House every day is solely for the community that it provides.
Yeah.
So what do donations do at Yahara House, and why is it important that we reach out to the community and ask them to help support us?
So donations do so much for clubhouses. Right now, our funding is not as diverse as what we would want it to be. So 98% of our funding is coming through Medicaid billing right now. And clubhouses would like to have, we would like to have more funding sources. So we've been talking with commercial insurance about service agreements here at Yahara House. We've been looking at grants as a way to diversify our funding, and legislative changes as well that other states like Michigan, their Department of Health Services, their State Department of Health Services, put money into the clubhouse programs in addition to the Medicaid that those programs are able to bill. So for whatever reason, like COVID, membership and participation in clubhouses was down a little bit. And if that's your only funding source, then you're at risk if you can't bring members in to the extent that you need to cover your costs. So the other thing, though, that reaching out to the community and talking about our need for funding is we also take in-kind services here too. So for instance, we did some remodeling of our garden space in the front of the building this year, and Hillenbrand Brothers Excavating came in and they donated their services and materials to us. So that was a way for us to save several $1,000s on a project that we otherwise would have used donations for. The Tenney Lapham Neighborhood Association, which we're a part of, donated money for that project as well. And reaching out to the community, we're also looking for expertise for our advisory council here too. So really the criteria for that is enthusiasm for clubhouse model, and ability to reach out to friends and co-workers and businesses and help us spread the word and increase our donor base too.
Are there any common misconceptions about what donations go towards?
Well, other than the bridge funding for members who don't have the funding right away, we don't use it for salaries or benefits for staff or those kinds of things. So our donations need to benefit membership directly benefit membership. So if anyone has any questions about how donations are used here, donation money is used, they can certainly contact me, and I would be happy to talk about that. This year we also got our first legacy donation too. We have very, very strong supporters who have contributed to Yahara House for many years, and this person was in that group and wrote a donation to Yahara House into their will, and we greatly appreciate that. And we're hoping that as we get to know more community members and some of our donors, our current donors are writing their wills, that would be something they would consider as well.
Well, that is about all the time we have today, Brad. Thank you for being here and answering all these questions, and hopefully we can reach out to the community and get a lot of work here done that needs to be done at Yahara House.
That would be fantastic. Thanks, Megan.